Hello, and welcome to the Sunday Chat with me, Richard Vobes. And this is my chance to have a chat with my lovely audience about the things going on in the world of the Bald Explorer. And instead of being down there on my nice new sofa, or at least my nice second-hand sofa, but new to me, I'm up back in the studio. And it's nice to be back up here. And I thought I might do some from here and some from different parts of the house, or even from the van or whatever, just to add a bit of variety. But today I thought I would do it from the old Vobe Show studio, which, by the way, if you're interested, I do a sort of comedy ranting debate show with the lovely Julia on occasions, on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Friday night from 8 o'clock UK time. It's a live stream, so check it out at the Vobe Show. But anyway, this is the Bald Explorer, as indeed you know. So it's Sunday the 14th of November, and this week has been quite an interesting week that we've just had of videos. We had good old Ollie, which was fantastic. Lovely to see him looking for a church that is no longer there. And actually, somebody made a comment, which I was staggered by, really, that they said they'd actually been to the church when it was in a ruinous state before it was knocked down. So that was really interesting. It's like you go to places like that where there isn't anything there, and you walk around and your imagination conjures it up and you think, wow, you know, there was something here and it's gone. And there's some, I don't know what it is, there's some sort of aura in the air. Now, whether that's just psychological, I don't know, but there was something here in one place of time, and it's no longer here. And you or me, in this particular instance, was never witness to the church. And so you build up this sort of, I don't know what you would call it, an ethereal image in your mind that there was at one point this thing. And then somebody says, I actually went there. I was there when it was a thing. And that is quite astonishing, I think. To me, because you built this thing up and you think, well, it could have been just a myth, it could have been a dream, and then somebody says, you know, real flesh and blood says I was there. So to me, I was really moved by that. So if it was you, thank you very much for putting that comment down. That was really good. We had Dumpman, and it was great to see Dumpman. I can't believe it was a whole year since the Dumpman had made an appearance on the show. That is absolutely astronomical, and it's incredible. We mustn't let that happen again. We must, I mean, I know we had there's been a bit of a thing, a bit of a flap going on, as they say, in the country over the last 18 months, so perhaps it is not surprising that some of these things in which you meet with other people haven't happened, but we mustn't let that happen again. So we'd been together to do the Daddy Longlegs in Brighton, part of the Volks Railway thing. And then this time we'd gone to the Chalk Pit Railway just north of Lewes, which was superb. And it was great fun to scramble down down those tunnels, which was in the very first Bald Explorer that I did back in, oh golly, whenever it was, a long time ago. And I linked to that, and I hope people managed to, if they've never seen the original Bald Explorer, saw that. Anyway, I had a bit of fun with the opening scenes of that, with the drone coming down. It was and then I found this dramatic music, so it was all very cinematic. So I hope you enjoyed that. So thank you very much for watching those. And then the one that I put out on yesterday, as this goes out, was just much more of a sort of traditional, just country bumpkin going for a walk type thing, burbling about stuff that he has absolutely no knowledge about, and hopefully winging it, which is mostly what I do in my videos, to be honest with you. Anyway, that was last week. What have we got for you this week? In last Sunday chat, I had some clips that I showed in. That's because I was ahead of myself and I had stuff in hand. I'm afraid I haven't got that this time. It's back to normal. I have been making a video. It's a bit of a domestic one, I'm afraid. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I haven't... the weather has been sort of a bit weird. Early in the morning down here in Worthing, it's been dull and grim. And I think, it's hardly worth going out to film. I do like to film when it's beautiful and sunny and warm and inviting. And only to find that by the afternoon, of course, all this horrible, dull, grey cloud has disappeared, and then suddenly the sun breaks out. But you know that at that point, by sort of 2-3ish, you've only got a couple of hours of sunshine left because it starts to get dark. And as the days go by, as we get closer to December the 21st, it's all going to get the days are going to get shorter and shorter, and it's just not going to be much cop. And also, one's got to travel to where you see the sun. You think, right, okay, we'll get out, and then you realise actually you've probably only got about 20 minutes to go and try and do something wherever it is that you've gone to. So it's touch and go at the moment with the videos, but we'll come on to that a bit more. So, as ever, I'm looking down here, just so you know, I've got another list of nonsense to gallop through. Englishness is a theme that I like to at least try to explore in this. England and Englishness, and what it means to me. It's my own personal journey, as you no doubt aware, because anybody who's English themselves will probably have a completely different version of Englishness and what that is for them than anybody else. And if you're not English, you're from somewhere else, Scottish, Welsh, Irish, or from overseas, then you may have a completely different opinion of what you imagine England and Englishness to be. And I'm never going to be able to capture what that is. I can only capture it for what I make of it from my journeys around the country, as much as they are. And I do want to do much further afield stuff, and the sort of lifestyle and that kind of thing. And I realised that what I really need to do is explore the Englishness, not just what we see in the architecture and the standing stones and the what is around us, in terms of a historical thing, but also in me, in the. Somebody once said that I was a little eccentric because of what I do. And I thought, well, I suppose what I should be exploring then is my own English eccentricity and expand on it and that sort of thing. And one of the things that I would love to do is to look at English dress. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to get and put a dress on, not that sort of thing. How, for me, the thing that epitomizes England for me is how an Englishman would dress. And of course, I feel very much part of, I suppose, the 1940s, 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s, that kind of period for me. I don't know quite what it is about it, but it's almost as if England got to its pinnacle there, and that it's all been downhill ever since. And by that, I suppose I mean things like manners seem to have dropped away. Style, clothing has become lax. And I think that's because after the Second World War, there was a lot of influences. We've had a lot of influences from other countries, and it sort of, in my mind, has muddied the water of what Englishness is, as everyone else has been adding things to the pot. Now, of course, somebody else might look at that and say, but that is where Englishness is today. We are a combination of all these other sort of influences. And that may be true. But it doesn't resonate with me terribly much. And my search for England and Englishness is about what resonates for me. So anyway, in future videos, I hope to explore a bit more of that. And of course, the winter is a great time to do that when one can't go on these lovely walks and see the wonderful countryside. One could dress up a bit and that sort of thing. And on that note, I've started to read books from that period, so fiction books, and it's been nice to have a change from reading the non-fiction stuff. So I've been reading some Kingsley Amis, starting with Lucky Jim, which I believe was his first book. And there's something about that, it's got a magical quality. There's a film with Ian Carmichael and Terry Thomas and others, Hugh Griffith, which again comes from that period, which very much speaks to me. So, and I've bought some more books on that, and I'll get into that a little bit later on. But there's something about that period which talks to me. Now, you could say, but Richard, you're just becoming nostalgic. You're nostalgic for something that is gone and is no longer relevant. And that you could be completely correct. And maybe that is what it is. And maybe you get to a period in your life when you do become a little bit nostalgic and you're panging for something. But personally, I think the world is changing so fast, so rapidly, more rapidly than any other time, that we're not hanging on to stuff which is meaningful to us for long enough, and that we're expected to continually chop and change and adapt. And I'm not really very good at that. Now, next on my list is the history stuff. I was talking, and I've made a couple of videos about wanting to explore the English history. And I do, because I want to learn about it, and I think the only way for me to learn is to sort of try and read up about it and then regurgitate it in a way that I understand it and pass that on. Now, whether people want to watch that or not, I don't know. But for me, that's a great way of learning. And the trouble is, I've been faffing about with this, dilly and dallying, shilly and shallying, desperately trying to work out how to present this that isn't boring. Because I think lectures, unless you're an expert, unless you're a David Starkey and somebody who's immersed in the history of England or whatever your specialist subject is, it would be two things really. One, that it would be terribly boring, and secondly, I think it would be disingenuous to sit there and make out that you know all this stuff, which only 5 seconds ago you've read from a book, and then you're regurgitating it. So I want to make this more of a discovery, but so I'm not lying to the audience and say, look, I found this out. This is really interesting that so-and-so, King such and such, did this and then he did that. Isn't that outrageous? Could they get away with that today? Or something like that. But I don't know how to do it. Laying my cards on the table, I don't know how to do it. And I want to make it interesting and energizing and full of beans, and that people will be gripped and go, oh my goodness, look, Vobes has discovered what the Normans have done in 1087 with the Doomsday Book, and how they recorded this, and what Henry I did, and why Henry III did this, that, and the other, and who was Henry XV. I don't think we don't think we had a Henry XV, actually. Anyway, I haven't worked out how to make it interesting. It's got to be interesting, otherwise people are just not going to watch. And so what's the point? So that's that. Oh, yes, so the next video that's coming up on Tuesday is another of these. People say they don't mind them. I feel they're a bit of a cop-out, really, but another of these domestic ones. I'm at home, I'm doing stuff. On this occasion, I've been trying to. One of the things I've been wanting to do is to improve the house. But in order to improve the house, I've got to get rid of a lot of stuff. And I make the first trip to the dump. Now, it's very difficult, as anybody who knows has done any filming whatsoever, to not only film yourself doing something, but doing something like moving things and going to the dump is quite tricky. And also, there's probably policies about filming down the dump and all of that. So I've cobbled something together. It needs editing. I'm going to edit it today, Sunday, when this I'm actually recording this Saturday the night before, but this will go out on Sunday, and I shall be there. Just think of me sweating blood and tears editing this video together, hoping that everything I filmed will work. Hopefully it will be interesting. I'm not sure whether it is, but people say they quite like the domestic stuff. So that's kind of what's coming up tomorrow, on Tuesday, beg your pardon. And then I'm hoping that we get a bit of a change in the weather. Although we've had very mild weather down here in Worthing, and I'm sure the rest of Sussex, it's been this weird sort of starting grim and not quite very there, and then turning out actually quite nice. But I want some nice actual mornings so I can get back onto the Sussex borderland. And we'll be starting at Lady Holt Park, which, looking at the OS map, seems to be quite off the beaten track in terms of where you can park. So there's a bit of walking to be done. And I was hoping to fly the drone and all of that, but I don't want to carry the drone, my nice camera and a tripod and all this stuff, this clutter. This is one of the problems. But anyway, hoping to get back onto the Sussex borderland very soon, for those people who love that kind of stuff. So that's that. Somebody suggested, and I know Ollie also added to this, people are saying, why don't you do some, in the winter days when it's raining and miserable, why don't you do cooking on the Essie? And I'm not really, I cook, and I like cooking very plain, very basic, simple food. I wouldn't say I was a chef, and I really don't understand what herbs go well with what. So I don't understand a lot of the stuff. I like very plain stuff. But I tend to cook everything I cook pretty much from scratch. I hate anything processed, and I hate TV dinners, and I don't do takeaways. I'm pretty boring, really, but it is very healthy stuff. I try to keep as healthy as I can. And I know that Ollie said, well, why don't you do something where you're cooking on a budget, on the Essie, in the sort of most primeval way? And I thought, well, maybe. It's just trying to work out how to set the cameras up and all the rest of it. Because if you ever watch any cooking shows, like here, the camera is on the other side of the desk. There's a desk, and you're there, and it's so much easier to demonstrate that way. Well, if you're cooking with the Essie has to be up against the wall because that's where the chimney is. I can't move it, it's too heavy. But you can't get a camera behind it. So every time you film, you're either always filming on the side, which isn't very good, or even worse, is filming from behind. And so I've always got this thing that I want to make it look right. That's part of my problem, I suppose, is I'm cursed by always trying to make it look as brilliant as I can and then having to compromise all the way down the line. Whereas other people don't seem to care and then just get away with it. So anyway, that's my Sunday chat. I hope you've enjoyed it, such as it is. And I will be back out and doing my best to make the videos, get the drone up, go walking, explore interesting things, bring new and exciting people onto the screen as and when I can and when they come forward. I might be doing a collaboration in the week with a chap called Dan. I've got that to arrange. And various other bits and bobs are floating about in the old bonts if I can get them out. And, of course, I want to get out into my van and travel around a bit because that's really interesting. And if I knew it was going to be mild weather like this, I would have taken myself off. But anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. Have a great weekend, what's left of it. And I will catch up with you in the week with the other videos that I'm doing. Until then, toodle pip.